This is Top 30. Coming up, the CDC is warning us of deadly bacteria lurking in swimming pools. We'll tell you the best pillows for a good night's sleep. And this crafty mom dresses her baby up as iconic women. Welcome to the show. I'm Kristen Smith, and here are 30 things you need to know today. First up, the average driver owns their new car 7.4 years, but a study by iSeeCars.com has found the models kept the longest. Atop the list was the Ford Expedition, which drivers kept for 9 years. It was one of 5 SUVs in the top 10, as they're functional vehicles families use until they're outgrown. Close behind was the Chevrolet Corvette. Sports cars are rarely a driver's primary vehicle, so the Corvette can avoid wear and tear and last longer. The Toyota Sequoia took third at 8.9 years. The 5 SUVs and single sports car were joined in the top 10 by 3 sedans and a single minivan. In specific categories, the Toyota Tacoma was the longest kept pickup truck, but not by much, since average trucks are owned for 7+ years. The Honda Accord was the longest owned car in 14 states, including Washington and Colorado. The Toyota 4Runner led in 6, such as Texas and Pennsylvania, and the Expedition dominated in California. Drivers and vehicles can be attached for a long time, so the report advises consumers, do your research and anticipate future needs when you're investing in a car. All right, listen to this story. Afraid to jump from a 60-foot bridge into the river below, 16-year-old Jordan Holgerson was unexpectedly pushed by a friend in this now viral video. She suffered 5 broken ribs and a lung injury, but says she's just grateful to be alive.
I could have died easily, but I didn't, and I'm happy to be okay.
And a lieutenant is making history as the first woman in the Marine Corps to lead an infantry platoon. According to the New York Times, 24-year-old Marina Hurl will lead about 35 men for 6 months of training exercises in the Pacific. And the Harlem Globetrotters are known for their trick shots, but Bull Bullard took it to new heights when he nailed a shot from an airplane going about 70 miles per hour. How many times do you think he had to try that before he made it? Amazing. All right, now let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with Nicole Petalides. Nicole, Chipotle has some new menu items.
That's right, Kristen. First came queso, and now Chipotle is testing bacon and nachos in select markets nationwide. And certain locations will offer $2 tacos with the purchase of any drink after 8 p.m. The move is part of an expansion of the pilot program the company launched this summer at its New York City test kitchen. The latest menu item on Buffalo Wild Wings menu could be sports betting. The chain has confirmed it is exploring new business opportunities opened up by the newly expanded sports betting laws after a ruling by the Supreme Court lifted a federal restriction on legal betting. Facebook's web traffic is down nearly 50% over the last 2 years. This according to a new study.
Okay, are people using the Facebook mobile app?
Well, the study found that people are actually using mobile more. In fact, it's estimated that 68% of Facebook users in the U.S. use the app.
Interesting story. Thanks, Nicole. Also joining us, Danielle Knox from Fox 35 Orlando. She has what you need to know today. So, Danielle, I hear there's a new way to get kids to eat their veggies.
Well, Kristen, I don't know about you, but my youngest and veggies, they're not friends. But researchers across the pond say they could be. They've got an app for that. It's called Vegetable Math Masters. It is an app that helps kids with their math by using vegetables. Researchers say exposing them to different produce in game form with rewards makes them more comfortable with vegetables at the dinner table. Well, sitting at a desk all day is not good for your health, and now an Australian study found its long-term effects can be more cost-effective if you invest in standing desks. The study estimates it would cost about 20% of Australian businesses about $185 million to install, but they say that it would give hundreds of people extra years to live by preventing obesity-related health problems. And are we alone in the universe? Cue the music, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, or are extraterrestrials out there? An age-old question with a new twist. Astronomers have detected another mysterious and powerful fast radio burst from deep space. Scientists still don't know the cause, and that's what you need to know. But Kristen, these bursts are in deep, 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 deep space. So if ET were going to phone home, long-distance charges would most definitely apply. Back to you.
Well, you never know what's out there. Thanks, Danielle. More Top 30 after this. Welcome back to Top 30. Let's go straight to Andrea Robinson from Fox 10 Phoenix. She has this week's life hacks. Hi, Andrea.
Hey, Kristen. Well, first life hack is one for your baking soda. We use it so much. How can you tell if it sat in the pantry a little too long? Simply take a half a teaspoon of the baking soda, put it in hot boiling water. If it doesn't bubble, it's time to toss it. Next up, a baking hack for butter. If you don't want to use butter in the recipe, you can simply use avocado in place of it. It'll make it a little healthier and it'll taste just the same. And lastly, another use for coconut oil. This one for the ladies. You can rub it on your legs, let it sit for a little bit before you shave them, and they will be perfectly smooth afterwards. Kristen, those are your life hacks this week. Back to you.
As usual, all great stuff. Thanks, Andrea. Well, with summer in full swing, a reminder from the CDC that there could be dangerous parasites and bacteria lurking in swimming pools and hot tubs. The government report stems from a 15-year period in which there were a total of 493 disease outbreaks, resulting in more than 27,000 people getting sick and even 8 deaths. Nearly 2/3 of the outbreaks happened at hotels and surged during June, July, and August. The lead author of the CDC's report says the advice is pretty standard no matter who you are. Once in the water, don't drink the water you swim in. Many of the illnesses resulted in gastrointestinal illness and diarrhea, but there were several cases of Legionnaire's disease, which can be life-threatening. According to the CDC, these outbreaks happen every year, and they weren't surprised by the numbers. Well, there are a few things more important than a good night's sleep. But while people put thought into which mattress will give them the best rest, less attention is paid to the pillow. While it's important to consider firmness, size, and chemistry, Consumer Reports has now broken down the pros and cons of certain fills. Down pillows, for instance, use soft fibers from ducks and geese. They contain few quilled feathers and are hypoallergenic, but may require constant fluffing as they flatten. Memory foam contours to the head, but latex also offers support. Made from the milk of rubber trees, latex is a chiropractor favorite because it's buoyant and restricts movement. Some, however, are allergic to the material. And wool pillows come from fleece fibers. They're mold resistant and regulate temperature, keeping you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Wool can be firm, but sometimes too much so. To find your perfect pillow, visit the Top 30 Facebook page. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Top 30. During the warm summer months, we hear a lot of warnings about dehydration, but overhydration can be just as dangerous. So joining us with some tips on how to stay safe is Dr. Suzanne Gilbert-Lenz. Doctor, thanks for being here. Yeah. So there is such a thing as drinking too much water. What are the dangers here?
Yeah, well, the thing is, our bodies require a very delicate balance of all of the different chemicals and nutrients and fluids. Yeah. So when we put too much fluid in, we're actually diluting things, and we can suffer something called hyponatremia, too little sodium compared to everything else. And this can lead to terrible symptoms, and ultimately those symptoms, nausea, vomiting, loss of consciousness, is because of swelling in the brain. I mean, it's, you know, extremely dangerous potentially.
Okay, so you hear the 8 glasses of water a day. At least that's what I remember growing up. Is there a perfect amount of water we should be drinking?
No, it depends on the person. It turns out that most of us do lose about 8 cups of water a day in sort of sweating and all that kind of stuff. But it depends on how big you are, how much you weigh, what kind of activity level you have. I think the best thing to do is follow your own natural instincts. If you're thirsty, you should have already been drinking.
Yes.
If your urine is very concentrated and not because of vitamins, you know, then you probably need to be bringing in more fluids. But you also have to realize you're getting fluids from fruit, vegetables, other beverages. It doesn't only have to be water.
Yeah, makes sense. Great tips. Thank you, doctor. All right, you've got to see this. One photogenic 3-month-old is giving Instagram a crash course in women's history. When Liberty Wexler was just weeks old, her mother, Janelle, an avid photographer, dressed the infant as her favorite artist, Frida Kahlo. After posting the picture to Instagram, along with a short bio of Kahlo, Janelle wondered why she had to stop there. I just kept thinking of all different influential women that I wanted to dress her up as. There were so many I could have her portray and help tell their stories. So Janelle got to work crafting costumes and conducting research whenever Liberty and her 2-year-old brother napped. In the weeks since that initial Kahlo post, Liberty has stepped into the shoes of nearly 20 famous women. Queen Elizabeth, Amelia Earhart, Cleopatra, Malala, Dolly Parton, Jane Goodall, and Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Janelle says she hopes Liberty can aspire to be like the inspiring women she's portraying online. And I think she's already on her way. Okay, can you imagine getting paid to travel and eat delicious food from all over the country? Well, Reynolds Wrap has announced their search for a chief grilling officer. One person will nab a 2-week gig in which they'll receive a $10,000 stipend with prepaid travel and accommodations to go sample grilled foods from some of the best barbecue cities across the United States. The company describes the position on their website, saying, along the way, you'll share tips, techniques, and pictures of your travels on the Reynolds Kitchen's website and social channels so that grilling enthusiasts at home can make drool-worthy meals on their own. Plus, the lucky winner will get to bring a guest of their choice along for the ride. Reynolds is accepting applications on their website until August 13th. Top 30 will be right back. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 4 Dallas, in 1998, Rhonda Burns had a friend with 4 family members fighting cancer. So she organized a tea party at a friend's house, inviting about 14 guests to help raise money for the American Cancer Society. Well, 20 years later, the annual breast cancer tea is being held in a hotel, now with hundreds of guests buying tickets to the festive luncheon, raising over $100,000 for the American Cancer Society's WIG program. With so many patients unable to afford wigs during their tough times of treatment, they've donated close to 1,500 wigs to women and men battling cancer. In our next story from Fox 9 Minneapolis, when Devontae Davis was seriously injured when he was hit by a car 2.5 years ago, he got a brand new outlook on life. After just a few months of recovery, he decided to go after his lifelong dream, starting the t-shirt company Fresh and Blessed. He hopes by sharing his story, he can spread a message of compassion and faith. In our final story from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, summer break can often leave a lot of kids with nothing to do, and that can lead to trouble. But through her Guided Path Foundation at the New Life Tabernacle Church, Marisol Soda has created a summer safe haven for kids to go to while their parents are at work. A young mother at the age of 15, Marisol's tough childhood inspired her to guide kids down a different path so they don't have to struggle like she did. And the kids are surely grateful for her positive example. Welcome back to Top 30. New York City will limit its number of Uber and Lyft drivers. The City Council voted to freeze new licenses for ride-hailing vehicles for 12 months. One goal of the plan is to reduce traffic and congestion. The city estimates there are more than 100,000 taxis, limos, and ride-hailing cars on city streets. One study found that 42% of rideshare cars at any given time are empty. The bill would also impose a minimum wage for drivers of for-hire vehicles like taxis. The value of taxi licenses or medallions in New York has plummeted since riders now have other options. The executive director of the Taxi Workers Alliance says every driver needs a raise, and this package is the first step towards stopping the crisis of poverty. Not surprisingly, Uber and Lyft aren't fans of the bill. They argue it will hurt drivers and New Yorkers. The company says it will mean higher prices and longer waits. The plan is the first of its kind in the U.S. Well, if you want to explore a city that offers adventures around the clock, Elizabeth Stanton from Popstar Magazine has the perfect place for you. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Kristen. What North American destination is famous for lavish hotels and casinos, huge resorts and theme parks, and top-name entertainment? That's right, it's Las Vegas, Nevada, an incredible city that is topping the charts with millions of visitors a year. The center of all the action is the Strip, also known as Las Vegas Boulevard. You don't even need to love to gamble to love the Strip. There's plenty of places to visit, even for the little ones. In this area of Nevada, there are plenty of day trips for adventure-seeking families too. You can rent dune buggies for a thrilling Baja chase through the desert, explore abandoned gold mines on a guided tour, and even be a cowboy for a day at a dude ranch. It's the best of both worlds. You've got the neon lights of Vegas and some rustic adventures just down the road. I hear there's even a few ghost towns lingering around. But don't let that scare you off. Back to you, Kristen.
Well, a good scare can be fun. Thanks, Liz. Some bad news for MoviePass lovers. The popular movie ticket subscription service is facing dire financial troubles, meaning customers are now getting less than what they initially paid for. The startup is short on cash, and stock prices have cratered to just pennies per share due to investors' fears the company will go under. In an attempt to turn things around, MoviePass announced it's changing the subscription model that drew so many people to the app in the first place. Originally, users could see one movie a day for just $9.95 a month. An incredible deal considering the average movie ticket costs $9.38. However, beginning August 15th, the monthly price will stay the same, but users can only see 3 movies a month. They'll also get a $5 discount for any additional movie tickets they buy. MoviePass says only 15% of subscribers see 4 or more movies a month, so the change won't affect most customers. But for others, well, it was good while it lasted. Now to a heartwarming story. Gil Schenzel ran through 50 national parks to raise awareness for a rare cancer that took her 21-year-old daughter's life. In 2016, her daughter Anna Rose was diagnosed with stage 4 adrenal cortical carcinoma, and she died last March. Schenzel took her daughter's beloved teddy bear along for the trip, and together they traveled more than 38,000 miles through 50 parks. Schenzel said, "When I'm out running, she's with me, and we talk. It's my time with her." After 268 days, Schenzel completed her journey on August 4th at Rocky Mountain National Park in her home state of Colorado. She raised more than $10,000 for her cause. Wow, what an incredible way to remember the life of her daughter. Top 30, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Researchers are applying science to dating out of your league. Some 200,000 straight users of an unnamed dating app were ranked by desirability, not looks, but the amount of popular people who made contact. On average, the most desirable men and women broke down as follows: men becoming more desirable as they aged, women less so. While daters tend to message others of similar desirability, many punched up, pursuing people 25% more desirable than themselves. The more out of their league someone was, the longer their initial message, and the less likely they'd get a reply, especially men who initiated contact most often. But never say never. According to the study's co-author, 21% of people who engage in this aspirational behavior do get replies from a mate who is out of their league. So perseverance pays off. So next time you think someone's out of your league, give it a shot. You never know. And this could very well be another year of the woman in American politics. After the latest round of primaries, a record number of women have secured major party nominations in races for the U.S. House of Representatives. According to the Rutgers Center for American Women and Politics, 185 women have secured nominations by either the Democratic or Republican Party, beating the prior record of 167 that was set in 2016. And that number could still go up. 14 states have primaries in the coming months, meaning many women still have the chance to clinch nominations before the midterm elections in November. And should these female nominees win their races, they'll make major strides toward reducing the underrepresentation of women in Congress. Despite making up 51% of the U.S. population, women hold just 20% of seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. But the way things are headed, that could change. How about this story? A Canadian family thought their dog was home with them until they got a phone call letting them know their beloved Marley was on quite the adventure. Kia Anderson's family lives in a suburban Toronto neighborhood, and they still have no idea how Marley got out, but somehow he ended up at the Rogue Hill station and hopped aboard a GO train headed downtown. Kia posted about Marley's trip on Facebook, writing, "We got a call from the train conductor, a really nice guy, who said, so the good news is we have your dog, but the bad news is he is headed to Union Station with us." Marley, who also goes by Marbles, made a lot of friends on the train and was safely returned to his family. And he's become a GO Train celebrity. A GO Transit spokesperson joked that Marley must have misunderstood a new policy being tested out that allows leash dogs on board trains, saying you're supposed to have your human with you. More Top 30 after this. Welcome back. Next time you need an uppercase letter or symbol in your password, just give your device the finger instead. Professors from Arizona State University have described a login method that forgoes written passwords and facial recognition, instead using your finger to draw shapes or signatures in the air. FM Code utilizes 3D cameras and wearable sensors and has proven about 95% effective in detecting proper gestures. The method could come in handy when mobility is limited or when users want to avoid contact with a keyboard. One hurdle, since users likely won't ever replicate gestures exactly, the system needs to pick up variations quickly, while also preventing imposters from gaining access. Many users said gesture login was harder to use, but they did give it a thumbs up when it came to security. Ironically, thumbs up will probably be a popular password if the system ever becomes available. And that's it for today's show. Here's what's coming up on the next Top 30. New research found that one group of Americans is now 3 times more likely to file for bankruptcy. Plus, if you've ever called customer service only to be frustrated by spending all your time on hold, you're not alone, but there may be a solution. And when one teenage boy wanted to help raise money for a good cause, he had no idea what would happen next. You can also listen to today's biggest stories on the Top 30 podcast. It's all coming up on the next Top 30.